Sally is your local netball administrator. She receives daily messages from her umpires on her phone and Facebook. Mary just messaged, and Craig, Sam and Jane. Struggling with managing umpire rosters like Sally? The Time Umpire software allows you to take control with ease. Check out timeumpire.com.au.
So we're back, and it's half time in the Men's Reserve Division. Victoria 33-12 at the main break. You could almost pencil them in for another grand final berth. Some pretty impressive shooting stats through Christian White and Clint Allwood. Christian White 28 from 35 for the first half. Clint Allwood 5 from 6. 81% accuracy for Victoria to half time. Tasmania at 67%. But as we saw in the first term, it sort of translated to the second. Most of the scoring for Tasmania coming through the goal attack position.
Yeah, look, the shooters probably played the not so dominant shooting role, but has kind of supported the entry for the circle for the goal attack, I think, most of the time. So doing the work, the goal attack, doing the work higher in the court and then getting themselves in and linking with the shooter. It's probably been a little bit more of their structure as opposed to the goal shooter not being involved at all. We saw, Julian take a lot of balls towards the edge of the circle, but then being able to deliver back out and Brad Beaton come in and take some of those there, and the same thing was happening in the first. So I don't necessarily know that it's anything to do with the capabilities. We saw Brad go from goal shooter to goal attack then and score all the goals.
Yeah,
so,
exactly, yep. And that's what I just was sort of trying to point to, whether their structure needs to be changing, where they're both on target for striking for Tassie.
Yeah, it's true. At that, Brad's probably not the strongest. He's not the strongest mover on a big tool. He's probably going to sit in there and wait and be smart about where he goes. But Victoria's goalkeeper's got a wingspan that kind of goes from one end of the court to the other, which really makes it hard to kind of just sit there and pop and do all those other things. And Dan King's been great, good find for Victoria coming up from the Res 2s last year, and he was fantastic in the Victorian M League this year as well, even in the team that he was in. Has been a real find and has come along leaps and bounds over the last year, especially. So we saw him come up with a lot of turnover ball, and he's not just looking after the circle, but he's also looking after balls that are on the outside, which makes it very difficult for that shooter to find space.
So a 21 goal lead to the Vics at half time. Just looking through some changes for Tassie. Taylor, Beaton stay in the same spots. Griggs and Stubbs have swapped centre wing attack. Shane Freese still on at wing defence, and Cam Martin and James Adams stay on at goal defence and goalkeeper. Josh Clavarino comes on to replace Christian White at goal shooter. Bryce Rowley comes on at wing attack. Braden DeMonte comes on at centre. Alec Deasy comes on at wing defence. So quite a few players being rested for Victoria. Smith, Blomley, Cartwright and White taking a breather after that first half.
And probably a well-earned breather as well. I think Victoria looked to have probably gotten the job done that they were needed to play in tomorrow's grand final match.
Yep.
So 7 games I think they've played so far. This is the 8th. Bodies are weary and tired, and it's time to have that rest and make sure that you're ready for probably the game that means the most.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the most impressive thing so far is restricting Tasmania's scoring rate, because they scored an average of 10 goals per quarter the first time they played, and they've only managed an average of 6 apiece in the first half. So that scoring rate's dried up. DC, Allwood.
Having said that, though, grand final games, finals games are a little bit different, and during the rounds, you really want to look at getting the rotations through, having a look at combinations and a chance for you to play something that may or may not work. It's not always necessarily the starting 7 that starts every match, especially when you're playing 2 games in the one day. Not an easy job, which is a nice high shot from Clint Allwood then. So it changes the makeup and the scoring rate, and we saw what Victoria did defensively in the first half with a very strong defensive lineup that's tall and has some speed.
Yep.
It makes it very hard for teams to get through
Yep.
that, and Bonifacio Smith is a defensive centre as well.
Yep, very much so.
So it makes it very hard for teams to score against that. Whereas when you do a bit of a rotation, sometimes the scoring rate goes up as well. So that the round games and the scoring momentum doesn't necessarily mean the same thing.
Good work from King. Went to the floor with the ball, picked himself up and disposed of it all within the 3 seconds. Dumont. Oh, I think Claverino was looking for a little pop pass there from Clint Orwood.
Yeah, I don't think Claver was set up in the right space though. Sat himself directly in between the two defenders, and it's a little bit of no man's land. He kind of needs to block one out so that there's the ball there. But having
the eyebrows were like,
wanting
get it in.
Nice sneaky pass, pass underneath.
Oh, just dribbles out for Beaton. It's not the first time that's happened today. Rivali on the fly. Very experienced campaigner, Rain Kivavali. I think this is his 10th
This
Australian
is
Championships.
Him and myself just got our 10th Australian Championships this year for Victoria. This is sadly my 15th championship that I've participated in.
It's not sad at all.
Well, okay. Well, we won't call that sad. I'm not hugely old, so
Experienced. Wise, grey.
I'm not grey yet. Wise. I'll accept the wise one. But yeah, Rain was there for, I think, it was in, I'm not sure, can't remember whether he was in the team that I was, my first Victorian team, so he's been around a long time though.
Oh, just bounces out for Claverino. So again, the scoring rate slows down ever so slightly for Victoria. They picked it up towards the end of the second quarter, and I guess that's much like they did at the end of the first term, so perhaps that's where they think they can pounce on teams. Long ball through some traffic from Adams, but Victoria picking it off and into attack again. Smart pass from Claverino into Orwood. 36-13. Adams, great take off the centre pass. Oh, bounce behind the back from Brad Beaton. That was nice to watch, and can finish for Tassie.
And James Adams has been really more effective today, I think, in goal defence than he was at the beginning in goal attack, although he did all the scoring.
Yep.
For Tasmania. He's got a whole heap of turnover ball. His connection with Cam Martin, they run some really good structures between the two of them, so you can see that the level of netball knowledge that they both have is getting the turnover ball for Tasmania.
Nice shot there from Beaton as well. James Adams wound the arm up. Found him in good position in the circle. DeMonte just not into the hands of Claverino. Oh, that was great positioning from Alec Deasy. Just tracked Griggs very well.
Kept him sideline as well. Made it really easy for him to go backwards for the ball.
Deasy again.
And Alec Deasy is known in Victoria for wearing players like a glove. You know, always on top of them, making sure that he's in their space.
Stubbs, Griggs, Beaton, just looks into the circle to Taylor, regathers. Nice shot from Brad Beaton. He was 6 from 9 for the first half, 4 from 5 in this third term. Stubbs. Oh, Taylor just wanted to inch closer to the circle. Probably should have turned and looked to the post. Big outlet from King. Timing from Claverino. Finished a very good passage of play from Victoria. Take the margin back out to 20. Just over 7 minutes to go in the third. 4-4 the quarter break, so Tassie making a better fist of it.
Just a regular Clint Allwood pop there.
Has those for breakfast. Oh, Demont, great positioning, was up early. Got his hand in the right space to contest. Oh, and mopped it up. Beautiful vision from Brandon DeMonte. That was his goal. Quick play from Victoria. Tassie just have their eyes down defensively at the moment. Victoria hit 40 to 16 in the third term. It's the men's reserve semi-final. The other semi-final between New South Wales and Queensland. It's being played at the same time, but not streamed today. Get those results due on social media as soon as possible.
Good mopping up from Josh Claverino there on the outside of the circle. The ball just escaped through Bryce Rowley's hands, but Josh Claverino paying attention and just getting onto it first, really. It's important for the shooter to be ready to set up.
Yep.
But if the ball does come flying down, that, you know, they're the first ones to it, because it means your team still stays in possession of the ball. So, you know, it's something that you really want to be focused on when you're setting yourself up, that you are the next one onto the ball and you're ready to go if someone drops it.
There's also some Australian selections on the line for a men's reserve and a Masters team, 35 and over, to head to the New Zealand Men's Nationals in Wellington this September. I believe the teams have been picked. They'll be announced at the AMNA Awards tomorrow night at the Pullman, Melbourne, which will be hosted by none other than the voice of netball, Sue Gordian, who was here earlier today commentating the Victoria WA Men's Open elimination final. Victoria taking that match 67-54, and they will play New South Wales in the preliminary final at 7 o'clock tonight after their shock loss to Queensland, 67-57. Haven't lost a match all week. Taylor just directing traffic. Victoria mop up. DeMonte and Deasy just take it through the centre third. Oh, good effort from Stubbs. Oh, Clint Allwood, clearly the oldest on court, can get up like that. Oh, Deasy. Twinkle toes along the line.
Yeah, trying to stay on side. Was probably a little far from the sideline to dance that far.
Yeah,
but
I think his body weight too was already shifted forward, so he couldn't get back upright. But it was a great attempt. That was a better hold from Taylor. Well finished. 3.5 minutes to go, 23 the lead.
just some smooth, quick skills from Victoria there. Unfortunately, couldn't finish it off. But really kind of just showing what it is that they've done today and how easily they've been able to move the ball through transition.
Yep. And they've been able to enter the circle by various means.
Yeah.
Hasn't been probably as predictable as Tasmania. But they've scored 7 goals this quarter to Victoria's 9. So this is about where Victoria push on and score a couple of quick goals to end the quarter. Let's see if they can do the same again in the third. Just off target. Claverino, Allwood. Mops up. And a chance for another transition from the Vics. Adams had a good look. And they'll reset and try it again. Just need someone, a shooter, to punch through. (44-20). Victoria over Tasmania. Beaten now. Stubbs, uncontested. That was a good play from Tasmania. Beaton saw that Griggs was open. And a quick 3 on Brad Beaton.
I think just turned around and not even a half a fake it and a hell ball. So,
what a ball from Clint Allwood. Josh Cleverino's got to finish this one off. That was a superb flick off the fingers. Barely touched his hands. Deserved the finish. Getting a little fancy in his twilight years, Clint Allwood. It's under a minute remaining now until 3/4 time. Oh, Adams had the front space. Ball wasn't good enough into the circle. Vics want one more score for the last change. Smith just receiving some treatment, it looks like, just to the right of screen. "20 seconds to go" was the call from the court. Ord says that's all right, plenty of time. And plenty of time for Tassie if they're good enough. Taylor. Not enough on it. And that will be the end of the first 3 quarters in the men's reserve semi-final. Victoria lead Tassie 46-20.
Sally is your local netball administrator. She receives daily messages from her umpires on her phone and Facebook. Mary just messaged, and Craig, Sam and Jane. Struggling with managing umpire rosters like Sally? The Time Umpire software allows you to take control with ease. Check out timeumpire.com.au.
So 46-20 at 3/4 time. Victoria lead Tasmania in the men's reserves semi-final. So it was another slow start to the quarter for Victoria. They made a couple of changes, 4 changes in fact to their starting 7. Tassie seemed to be able to stick for moments at a time but not punish on the scoreboard, and then they fall away towards the end of the term.
Yeah, look, it's probably something that has been a trend for them, maybe possibly for the week. I don't know if this week has probably been as successful for them as what last year was, but that can also come down to the quality of competition moving upwards from every other state. You know, the changes really worked for them when they made them in the second quarter. They were able to stop Victoria's run on and scoring rate, and a couple of changes from Victoria. I don't know whether Alexia will be hugely happy with some of the errors that came out of them.
Yeah.
A couple of plays where there's some extra special netball, I guess. You know, nothing wrong with a little bit of flair, but if we're going to put the flair in, it really needs to come off and find the target every time. So something that, you know, Victoria probably look to want to clean up for the final quarter. You know, even if you have the starting lineup that they started with today runs tomorrow, you want to make sure that everyone else who needs to do their job at the right time brings the right flavour and the same thing that the starting group does. So probably something that Victoria want to clean up before they enter into a grand final match tomorrow.
So some more changes for the Vics. Simon Cartwright coming back on at goalkeeper. Ponfacio Smith on at goal defence. The rest stay as they are. For Tasmania, Oliver Bryant comes back on at goalkeeper. Cam Smith moves to wing defence. Just too much on it. The pass from Adams to Beaton. So Victoria 18, 15 and 13. Their scoring rates has slowed a little bit as the match has progressed. 5, 7 and 8 to Tassie, so it's slowly increased over the first 3 quarters. Claverino 8 from 13 in that third period. Allwood 5 from 5. Taylor 1 from 3. Beaton 7 from 9. So 59 attempts to 30 in favour of Victoria. Definitely reflected in the scoreline. 78% accuracy to 67 for Tasmania. With all these changes, it's going to be very difficult for you to pick a player of the match, Dan.
It is very difficult, but I think Victoria defensively have been fantastic. If Christian had been on for a little while longer, scoring at the score rate that he had in the first half, it might have thrown something like that into the mix. But we'll see how the last quarter goes and making a decision on who's probably been the most influential player of the group. We saw Ponfacio Smith have a great first quarter, really. You know, so if he can come on to goal defence and do something, Simon Cartwright was fantastic in the first half in wing defence, and Dan King has been fantastic today as well. So we'll see what the final quarter brings.
Got another 13 minutes to decide. It's all right, plenty of time. Oh, Allwood tried to take the penalty very quickly. Just comes off for him. Victoria, the first 2 of the last. Good read again from Cam Martin. He's had good hands in lots of play this quarter. That was a great chase from Simon Cartwright. DeMonte, Deasy through the middle. Claverino, great dodge from Allwood. Just too much on it. Good hands from Claverino. Good pressure from the Vic attack end. Got a bit of a wall happening at the minute, and Tassie goes straight over the top of it. Great read from Cartwright, but a great goal from Beaton.
Just couldn't stick in his hands, bounced off, and Brad Beaton was there just to take it straight out.
Tom Butler also has come on at wing attack for Tasmania. Cartwright again, had a good read on it. But that is a brilliant shot from Brad Beaton. He's 16 goals from 20 attempts. Brad Beaton shooting at 80%. Not a bad return.
No, definitely not a bad return. And look, we might even see with the scoreline out like this, he just frees up and really puts the ball to the post and can show off some of the skills that he does have in his bag.
Well, Tassie have got one last roll of the dice, one last quarter to put it all out there for 2019. Again, Beaton, nice goal. Brings the margin back to 26. Don't think there's going to be enough time for a miracle from Tassie today. DeMonte. Oh, good hands from Stubbs. Hasn't been a lot of ball turned over around the outside of the Vic attack end. So they'll look to treasure this. Butler. Beaton gathers his own rebound. So a good start to the last quarter from Tassie. 4-3 the break and the centre pass to follow. In Allwood. I'm not sure if he's wanting to call time or just walk it out. He's quite frail now, isn't he?
He is. old age.
Got to wrap it up in cotton wool.
That's what it's called.
Oh, great deflection from Bryant.
Taps Josh Clav in the front of the chest just to let him know that he just hit the ball out of the park.
Oh, DeMont. Probably a nice idea. The space was there. The eyes not up from Josh Claverino. And James Adams, Cam Martin just having to remind himself of his wing defence this quarter. Couldn't go into the circle to pick that off. To the misdirected ball from Bryant. So the Vic's now a chance to punish.
Cam Martin gets the call then on Brandon DeMonte, former teammates in the under 23s.
That's right.
Together, so I reckon that one might come back at the end of the match in their time after to laugh about. Cam will be looking for anything that he can get to brag about after today, I reckon. So any of those small wins, I think
we'll put together a highlights package for him.
Yeah, that's right.
Good ball, incisive to DC. Good hitting of the top of the circle from Rowley. Claverino can't convert. Smith is looking to hunt. Beaton, good flick into Taylor. (26-50) Victoria lead. They'll play in the grand final tomorrow at 2:30. Against either New South Wales or Queensland. Good read from Cartwright. It was only one way that James Adams was going. Game resembling a little bit of a tennis match at the start of this last quarter.
Back and forth, up and down. Defenders doing a good job at getting turnover ball or forcing the attackers into just rushing the ball through the court. So last 7.5 minutes, you really want Victoria to probably sharpen up their skills. This game is still important for you to brush off the last few things before your shot at the title in the afternoon tomorrow. So hopefully they can clean the game up a little bit and see what they can put out there.
Taylor short. But makes good with the second attempt. Margin at 24. Deasy just waited for Adams to go past the passage of play. And again, Victoria turn it over. Beaton waits for assistance. Stubbs, Cartwright. At good positioning. Smith, strong rebound. So 7-5, Tassie lead the last term. Victoria will want to close this out, particularly playing a grand final tomorrow where the last 2 grand finals have only been decided by a goal against against Queensland. They've been incredibly tough to watch, and that ball was telegraphed to to Bryant. Good pressure from Victoria then. Butler without an option. That time Victoria finish. Tassie with the centre pass through Stubbs. Oh, I thought there was going to be too much on it from Adams, but Beaton collected it.
Pulled it in.
And Taylor home alone. Last 5.5 minutes of this game. Have you had any more thought on the player of the match?
Yeah, I probably don't think that the defensive end has done enough to stop Dan King from winning it. I mean, he let in 2 goals in 3 quarters of netball at goalkeeper. So he'll certainly probably hate me for choosing him again. But
you should speak to Luke Marco Rawlings. He's had 3 times.
He's had 3 as well. But ultimately, to shut down a team and only allow their goal shooter, the person who sits in the circle, to have 2 goals in 3 quarters of netball is just a fantastic job, and the intercept and the ball that he came up with, probably just beating out Simon Cartwright for my liking for today. But yeah, it's hugely impressive from him. 2 goals against you is great.
Liz Ellis is going to be wrapped with all these defender MVPs.
Well, defenders have been good the whole week. I think all the way through from the Opens division into reserves and 23s. It's been great to see some of the extra work, I guess, that the defenders have been doing and coming up throughout all the levels, and making the attackers having to work that extra bit harder to score every goal.
Oh, DeMonte. Little scrappy from the Vics at the moment.
Yeah, Tasmania, I think, are leading this final term. So
9-6.
Probably not the way that they wanted to go out of this game. You'd want to stay sharp, make sure, but you can see that they're cruising through the last quarter a little bit. And this is the last quarter for Tasmania for the week, so a chance for them to show what it is that they're made of.
Really good use of the backspace. Allwood was driving in.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Bryce Rowley just wait and hold that one up.
Yep.
It's important for the wing attack to have some awareness of what it is that's happening around you, and to know if that other person is coming. So
good, strong rebound from Josh Claverino.
But unable to finish the shot, and it's probably something that Josh might need to work on to get right, to earn the starting spot. He started for Victoria last year, and I think the year before that as well in this group, and with Christian coming down, and it just seems that he's lost a little bit of confidence and isn't really the same player that he really could be.
53-29, last 2 minutes 10 of this game. Stubbs tried to go through traffic. Victoria were having none of it. Allwood seems to be doing a lot of running at the minute, but not much reward. Rowley now. So the winner of this game playing the grand final tomorrow at 4:30. That game will be live streamed to amnet.com.au. All 7 matches will be available to be streamed via the website, with 4 of them, including the Open Men's Grand Final at 1 o'clock, coming to you live on Facebook. Oh, Cam Martin almost got a hand to it. Final minute coming up for Victoria to really push home the point that they have earned the right to play in the grand final. Probably hasn't been as polished a performance as they would have liked, but they have been able to rotate their 11 and give pretty considerable court time to all of them.
And that's also important, just to rest legs before the big game tomorrow as well, to give everyone the opportunity to maybe look at getting that starting spot.
Do you think they started with their stronger 7 today?
I think that they've got a few players that could be in their starting 7, and depending on the matchup as to whether they play New South Wales or Queensland and what that starting 7 could possibly look like. Is it possible the starting 7 that they had today will be the starting 7? For sure. Is there a possibility there could be changes to that being the starting lineup? I definitely think so too. It's really going to be dependent on who it is that they're playing.
So really been played like it's junk time in those last few moments. 55-31. Victoria over Tasmania in the men's reserve division. They'll go through to the grand final tomorrow. Will Victoria? Very appreciative of the Tasmanian Titans competing in the men's reserve division this year, but they won't go any further in the tournament in 2019. We'll be back right after this with the post-match interview.
Open Elite 8 Premiers, how does that sound?
Big wicket, that one bounced. Come on! The drivers have been safely gone.
Motor are going through. It's all over for Southern.
He's out. Gillum Jones is out. Can it get over the top of Anderson?
get over
Tracks all the way
Anderson.
back in.
It
It
is.
does. And he's locked in. What a goal!
Inundated. So popular.
Welcome back to Casey Stadium. I'm here with the player of the match, Dan King. And Dan, how did you see today's game?
Yeah, look, it was a good game, a very good game. We wanted to come out with intensity, and instructions were to stick with our structures. Our intercepts were rewarded. Tasmania played really well, shots put up really well. So, but yeah, good to come out with on top.
And finally, looking forward to the grand final tomorrow. Something exciting for you. What are your thoughts on the match tomorrow?
Yeah, it's I think last year Resi Ones won by 1 over Queensland, so it's going to be a tough match again, whether it be Queensland or New South. And yeah, looking forward to it. Team's hyped up, so it's going to be good. Yeah.
Congratulations, Dan. 2 goals against you today. Player of the match.
Open Elite 8 Premiers, how does that sound?
Big wicket, that one bounced. Come on! The drivers have been safely gone.
is out. Can it get over the top of Anderson?
Get over
Tracks all the way back
Anderson.
in.
It
It
is.
does. And he's locked in. What